Hey Google, mute. Okay, it's me, Taman Lavender, and yes, when I was younger, I didn't like reading. In fact, I used to read the Captain Underpants comic books. You know, the minimal amount of words as possible, with the highest amount of engagement and entertainment. Lo and behold, that didn't lead me to a life of articulation, but it did engage me, those books. I did have an interest, actually, in Ian Fleming's James Bond books. Now, I couldn't tell you any of the stories, personally, like now, this many years later, nearly 15 years later, but those types of books I did have an interest in it because there was a secret agent, element to it, something that I had an interest in, espionage. That was kind of the thing which I was into at the time. So I did like to read those books. However, I didn't continue much longer after that point, possibly because those Ian Fleming books at the time were probably above my level of reading. So I would get disenchanted, or I'd feel maybe like I wasn't understanding the concepts because I was trying to read at a higher level. So fast forward now, I am now a proud 28 years old, and I feel like I read to a very competent level. Obviously there's still times I come across words I do not know, and I will definitely Google them, or if I'm on a tablet I will highlight it. If I'm on a or I'll use the AI and ask my Google Assistant. Anyway, we'll get into the purpose of this video. The purpose of this video is not about me such, is to talk about Luton, its demographics, and this recent report that's been published, which I'm happy to go through. So let me minimize me, because I'm not the center of this. I'm not the topic. And I'll take you through the 9 pages. So it's a literary survey, and it was conducted by an individual who I believe her name is Huriyah. I'm not entirely sure, but I will clarify that, especially in the description. So, very straightforward. Purpose of the study, the demographics, reading habits, literary events, Luton events, and then obviously kind of maybe the goal at the end to encourage reading. So I've already shared this to somebody I know who's really interested in books for the black community. So I need to make sure I've gone over this and understood it. All right, so I actually filled out this survey, so I'm pretty interested in its results. It went live on the 24th of June, closed 31st of August, so that's a good period of time. And, here we go. I lied about the name. It was done by creative leader Taliha Quadri. So the main purpose of the study was to understand Luton's readership and what kind of literary events they might want to see in the town. Understand how often Lutonians read, discover what the most popular genres are, learn what type of events are desirable, and find out what is preventing some of the reading. So what barriers are there? And all of these surveys are distributed via social media and word of mouth, which means there is some limitations because the pool of people who would have had access to it may have all fallen within creative backgrounds, or as such the way that the survey would have been disseminated is word of mouth and social media. It could have been very targeted on social media, or it could have been very sporadic. Okay, so the survey collected 141 responses from Luton and residents. All of Of all the participants, 63% identified as white, 24% as Asian, 5% as black, 6% as mixed or multiple ethnic groups, and 2% as Arab. It's interesting. So only 5% of the 141 respondents were black. But, yeah, okay, it is what it is. The majority of the participants were aged 25 to 54 years old, with 25% aged 45 to 54. Okay. 22.7% aged 22 to 34, and 20% aged 35 to 44. So Luton's diverse population speaks many different languages. English is not always the first or second or even third language. As the survey was conducted in English, these participants were all considered to be English speaking. Okay, fair enough. 10% answered yes. Other languages included Urdu or Urdu, Spanish, Espanol, Japanese, Latvian, Italian, Gujarati, Romanian, Norwegian, Arabic, French, Francais, Malay, and Portuguese. Okay, so that's just a visual of the participants' age groups again. So 17 to 24, 5%. The largest percentage is the 45 to 54-year-olds. So 25 to 34 was a pretty good percentage. Yeah, okay. We're moving on to the next part. Reading habits. So participants were asked how often they pick up a book or audiobook to read. The majority of participants... Oh, low battery. The majority of participants said they did this every day or one or more times a week. So 25%, that's just under a quarter. 15.6% read one or more times a month. And again, just under 15% read one or more times a year. Only 8.5% of the participants said they do not read books at all. Okay, so if you were, from a marketing perspective or a business perspective, 90% of your market read. 90% of them read. Over 90%. Just how frequent is the sticking point. The most popular type of book were non-fiction, nearly 20%, and mystery and crime, followed closely by literary fiction. Some participants provided further information about the type of non-fiction books they read, so biographies, religious and spiritual, self-help development, travel, and geopolitical. Let me move my picture over here. I'm trying to look at the diagram because non-fiction 16%. I would be interested to know what the percentages are specifically of biographies, just because I read a lot of biographies myself. And the personal development books, yeah, again, that is quite interesting to me because I think that personal development has gone through the roof in recent years, but that may just be my opinion because I am looking into that more often, so maybe I see it more often. I don't know. One of those law of attraction things. Anyway, participants who answered I don't read books were asked what would encourage them to read. And this is an open question. Right. They would read more. Most participants said they would read more if the subject was interesting or if they had more time. Well, more time is obviously an excuse because we make our own time. We work the same time in the day. So it's a prioritization or a procrastination issue. Shouts out to J.A. Mind Mastery. And if the subject was interesting. So that's a bit of a throwback to what I said when I started talking at the beginning. I was interested in James Bond from when I used to play on the N64 and play GoldenEye. So I was interested in James Bond and espionage. So therefore, that led me to pick up that book. It's like saying, I have no interests, so I can't read. It's like, no, you have interests, therefore find a book which matches that. Okay, anyway, carrying on. One of the aims of this survey was to gauge interest in literary events. Of all participants, 45% said they already went to literary events. 36% said they did not go to any but were interested in attending. And just under 20% said that they did not go to any and were not interested in attending. Interesting. Participants who did go to literary events mostly went to festivals, author readings, and poetry events. So yeah, poetry seems like a good thing to go to. You know, if it was like a book clubs, that sort of thing. Participants who said they did not go to any but wanted to attend were asked why they don't already go to literary events. The most common factors preventing people from attending literary events were in order of popularity, not aware of local literary events. That's a failure on the marketing and the promoting of these events. But I don't want to say failure, it's an opportunity for those events to make waves. Timing clash with other commitments, understandable. That's compatible by posting these events at least 4 to 6 weeks in advance and setting up a calendar of events going forward. Distance, so accessibility. Although I find that in Luton the bus system is good. You've got the bus way. You have trains that get you in and out of Luton from Leagrave. We've got 3 train stations in Luton, so there isn't really that excuse. I'm not going to talk about expense because come on, right? Anyway, going back to this chart, types of literary events participants go to: books, literary events, author readings, book signings, poetry events, book clubs, and groups were very low. Wow, okay. Interesting. Interessante. When participants were asked if they were interested in attending literary events in Luton specifically, 83% said yes. Okay, now we are cooking on gas. We asked participants what kind of literary events they'd like to see in Luton. This was an open-ended question and the following responses were recorded: author interviews, Q&A, readings, signings, book clubs, writing workshops, book festivals and fairs, author publishing talks, book sales, storytelling events, poetry, diverse events, events with local authors. That's very important. Local. Think local. Think Luton, but don't think specifically born in Luton. Think Luton-centric. Spoken word, panel discussions, themed events. So like at Halloween, it makes sense to, get some Marvel books going, or it makes sense that when the new Avengers film is coming out to then try to piggyback off the back of that and get people into reading early Marvel stories. Might be a bad example, but anyway. Competitions with prize funds or publishing, other workshops, book swaps. All very good ideas, actually, to be honest. Moving on, we asked participants what Luton needs to do to encourage people to read more. And again, this is an open-ended question with over 100 responses. That's very good. Many of which were repeated requests for the same thing. The following is a summary of what Lutonians suggested. Bookshops, independent bookshops, community charity bookshops. Well, independent bookshops, you've got No Ordinary Bookshop, which is in the Luton Mall. That's run by a lady named Angel. You have a Instagram page called Clean Bookman, who delivers books to people. More independents, can't think of any more for now. Community charity bookshops, campaigns to promote books and literary events, posters and recommended reads. Posters, absolutely. Again, marketing. That's promotion. Youth initiatives to encourage reading outside schools. 100%. So the key to growth and moving people forwards is through our younger generations. Thank you. Author talks and book events in schools. 100%. So if you are an author, if you have written a book, 100%. In the same way, there is, when a business is putting its product to market, they go to certain locations and they talk up that book. They should be hitting up those schools, colleges, universities, to talk about their book at the particular level that it's designed for. Right. And then some. Teachers recommending books outside curriculum and school book clubs, book fairs, festivals, encourage reading in all formats, including audio and on-screen. easier access, more variety of books, a sense of reading community, satellite libraries in places like Luton culture coffee shops and community centres. Oh, there's also a vegan cafe called Green Bank something, which has a small community book shelf, which is good. Advertise book events better. Make events relevant to the people who don't usually go to them. Make books more visible in public areas. Positive assistance to adults with literary issues who are missing out. That's really good. That's true. So if someone's got any literary issues, there should be somebody there, volunteer or member of the team who is particularly skilled at delivering books and interacting with people who are not so great with literary issues, literary literacy. Book donations and discounts, vouchers for children. Book clubs in languages of the communities in Luton. That's really interesting, yeah. More public spaces and environments where people feel safe and comfortable to read. Thank you. If I sit in Luton George Square, do I feel comfortable reading there? I'll leave that thought because I kind of do, because I'm not really afraid of the outside world. But some people will, and they will not want to read there. Yes. Library related suggestions. So this is an important part for me because I've been using the Luton Library recently, Luton Central Library, and I am thoroughly underwhelmed in terms of the facilities, in terms of the overall vibe. But the staff, I give the people who are working there day to day credit, absolutely. However, in terms of a directorship and a director level, there needs to be a change there. Sorry, I'm going ahead. Promote the library more. Advertise the e-library. Ready to go book club packs. I see that. More library events. More library in areas where there aren't any libraries around. So you've got Luton Central Library. You've got Leagrave Library. Let me quickly do a Google search while I'm here. Stop closing libraries. Absolutely. You know, in terms of opening hours and opening times, it's abysmal. You know, think of the hospitality sector. Think of clubs, bars. You know, if someone's willing to use the space, then it should be open. As long as it's paired with sustainable ways of keeping the business open. You also have the University of Bedfordshire Library and the Bury Park Library. I've not been to either of those two. The Bury Park one, okay. I might have to visit that one at some point. Anyway, carrying on. Stabilise the library service, yep. Fund the libraries, yep. Make the library service independent. Yeah, it probably does need some new governorship. So that's the end of the document. I will try and link it somehow if this is on YouTube, and then if it's on Facebook, I will link to the original post. Well, just to summarise my opinion, you know, we are in a world where we have social media, we have our smartphones, we have our gaming devices, we have our audiobooks, we have all these methods of taking our attention. And I'm talking from a position where I'm guilty. I don't pay enough attention to books, personally. You know, I've got a stack of them in front of me, but I don't always make time for it in my day or my week. Books, and this is not just because Jeff Bezos changed the game and made the Amazon Kindle, right? Books are losing the battle of attention, okay? Now, we all know the time and energy and effort it takes to write a book in terms of the sources, the time, the references, the peer reviews, the content, just the sheer confidence and ambition it takes to put something down into a project, publish it, all of these things that go into a book. So why, after all that effort and energy, would we fall down on the bit that is, to me, from my perspective, most important. And I hope you'll agree, because it's not about sometimes just creating a book. It's about how it's promoted and delivered and engaged to the demographic you need it to be. Marketing, okay, communication, the life cycle of a book, to me, should be endless. It should just be like this. It should go round and round and round, because you have, pre-sale. You have that moment where some person looks and sees the book. You have them using the book. You have them completing the book. It shouldn't end. It should keep going. From a commercial perspective, I'll be happy to talk to anyone about how you extend the life cycle of your book and make it commercially viable to you and those in your team, because there's so much that can be done around it. And you need to capitalize on the attention economy, build good habits around books, emphasize the benefits, and it's about foster a community, because you read the book as an individual, but imagine where you can go with that book when it's shared. Yeah? Shared. Accessible. Thanks for listening. I hope this has made sense. It's kind of been me just freestyling, because I didn't plan any of this. I just jumped in front of the camera. So let's just do it. So thanks for watching. Please like the video. Please share the video and tag anyone who you know is interested in books, book events, the commercial ideas around books, ideas around marketing, and last but not least, anyone that just cares about Luton, cares about towns, cares about development, community development, learning, and anyone who, got a little thing for me in it, But yeah, anyway, thanks for watching. Stay tuned for the next video. My name's Tamar. I'm one of Luton's very own. I lead a community group called Luton's Very Own. I'm also the businessman. Keep doing more than the rest. Same fucking hand, but thank you. Hey Google, unmute. Okay.